in the booth, Corner Talk. We're back, and we've taken a little break because there have been a couple of very exciting things happening behind the scenes, and can't wait to share them. And we're back with a bang because we got Ugly Man Joseph Holmes, who just got a win at UFC Vegas 55 inside around the 1 minute mark. You know, no big deal. And I'm excited to get to talk to you, man. How are you doing?
Excited to be here, man. No, I'm doing pretty good. Just woke up a little bit ago, so.
Yeah, you just got back to Dallas yesterday, right?
Yeah, Monday.
Monday, 2 days ago. Yeah,
got back to Dallas Monday from Vegas.
Yeah, didn't linger too much. Like, didn't spend too much time in Vegas.
No. We just went and got some good food and then called it. We had an early flight, so.
Is that what you tend to do? Like, you don't want to get too indulged in that life?
No, it's not really for me. I'm not much of the partier like that. Like, I'll throw my own parties. I like to throw parties for like me and my friends, but
yeah,
not much of that type of party life.
The house party vibe. I get that. But so I see the green screen behind you. Everything, like, do you stream at all? Is that like a thing you do as well? Like, that's what streamers tend to have.
Yeah. I actually stream video games on Facebook. My Facebook channel is Ugly Man Joe Gaming.
Oh yeah, cool, man. What are you doing with that? Like, what kind of games are you playing?
I play like some horror games. I have a few competitive games I play, but I just play a lot of new games. Like when new stuff comes out, I'll just play the new games.
Like kind of review them and.
Yeah, kind of review them and stuff like that.
Also, man, is that you're trying to build a brand with that as well outside of fighting? Like, is that something you want to tie up to your fighting career as well and get a new fan base in? Maybe people that don't view or don't watch much fights, just to get invested in you as a person?
Yeah, I mean, not really for that purpose, but I definitely enjoy playing video games, and I enjoy like sharing my experiences with other people, and it's something I've always wanted to do as well as fighting. So it's something I take serious for sure.
That's because a lot of fighters end up in that situation sometimes where they don't know what to do on the side, or like after their career ends, they start thinking about the future, and perhaps if you build that channel up like another passive income stream, you're setting yourself up for a good future.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I've done a little commentary. That's something I'm interested in doing as well, and yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, and we do that a lot. Like we do help a lot of fighters and also UFC fighters with like setting up their podcasts and professionalizing the podcast, other channels and stuff like that. So yeah, it's something we're a fan of, and we always support. So let's get into your fight career a little bit, man. Like I watched you on the Contender series. Me and my boys were kind of disappointed you didn't get the contract like in the beginning, as I'm sure you were as well. Were you then surprised that you didn't get it and you were asked to like get one more win outside of the UFC?
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty surprised, but my managers came and told me right away, like, we didn't get the contract from that, so just be ready to turn around and fight again right away. So that's what we did. We ended up fighting the very next month with that looking for a fight deal. Mm-hmm. And that was like our official opportunity to show them, like, I'm supposed to be fighting on a bigger stage. So it was just like a big test, like pretty much like you have to be good enough to do this, because if you can't beat these guys, then you have no chance in the UFC. Because that's basically what I got out of what he was saying.
Yeah. And did it affect your confidence at all? Because in the end, you did get a win. You did get a finish at the Contender series. So I can imagine that you felt like, okay, I mean, I can do this. I can just like, or did it put a lot of extra pressure? Or is it the most pressure you felt in your career at that point?
Nah, man, they're all very, very pressure, like full of pressure. Like, there's not one fight I had that I could honestly say was like more pressure than any other fight. They're all like super full of pressure.
Yeah.
Like equally, like not even kidding.
Nothing. Okay. And like, cause because then you got the UFC debut, and then there was another setback, which I mean, obviously, yeah, like you lost that fight, but you did put on a competitive fight. Um, and like, what kind of how do you regroup mentally, and sort of do you looking ahead to like the training, the extra training you have to do, or maybe like how did that affect you mentally?
That just made me need to push harder. Like when I didn't win my debut, like it showed me that I'm good enough to be up here with the best guys in the world, because I took that fight on short notice, and I was
Yeah.
I went 3 rounds with the guy who had been preparing for his fight for a while. So
Hmm.
it just showed me like I am good enough, but when I get the right fight camp, like I will be like unstoppable. And that's basically what I showed with my last fight. So
Hmm.
yeah, I just know I have momentum going forward, like determination to show how good I am now, because
Hmm.
I've had the right time. So
Is that like, did you learn more about yourself then, like, than you ever have after that first fight in the UFC, your debut?
no, I think I won the same. I mean, I think I like learned the same amount and grew from it. Like both of my losses, my pro debut when I lost in Bellator, um, I feel like it taught me just as big a lesson then than it did now. Just different times and different lessons.
Hmm. What lessons did you apply this time? Because this was, I mean, if there's a contrast between two fights, it's like, between the first and the second. The first one was like grueling, and I know it's exhausting because it's also like short notice. Maybe like the cardio wasn't as good then, but now you're like, you got this guy out of there like within 1 minute 4 seconds, I think it was.
Yeah, I just had more confidence this time, because of my loss. Like when I watched my loss, I just had like it just showed me like, dang, like I did way better than I thought I did, because I hadn't watched it since we had it. So
Oh,
when I finally got a chance to watch it, it was just like I thought I got my ass kicked, but no, I actually didn't. I
yeah.
actually did a lot better than I thought I did against a really good guy, a guy who would beat the guy I just fought.
Hmm.
So thinking about that, it was just like, oh well, I'm definitely about to beat this guy.
And what made you so confident that you're gonna beat that guy? Is it like the fact that Jamie had beaten him, or is it like are there other things you
Jamie
saw? Like,
hadn't beat her.
oh,
It's
he had.
just the fact that how good I did against Jamie, and I figured that Jamie could beat Alen, the guy I just
Okay,
fought.
yeah, yeah. You were assuming that just he would have beat him
Yeah,
because
he
there was
would
a
have beat
big
him.
length difference as well.
Yeah, big size difference. I was taller and longer.
Hmm. Yeah, man. Like, I'm happy that it went that way because like we do put our bets out sometimes, like every weekend, and you kind of like save the day. When like in the end, we lost a couple because Holmes lost, but then Holmes
Oh,
he got it done. Like we had you like somewhere just straight up, and one by finish, one by submission, even. So a couple of people, like, especially a couple of my own people in Amsterdam, like made some money off you. Like I'm
yeah.
happy that happened. And things kind of played out like I thought. Um, was the knee that you rocked him with initially, right? Is that something like you were anticipating as well? Because I think you threw it or tried throwing it or like a few times before that.
It was just something that I have been putting into my game. So it's just now it's just like a natural attack that I'll go with on the regular now. Like it's something we have been working. It wasn't specifically just because like we felt like we'll beat him with it. It was just like that's a good knee. And I'm normally gonna be taller than everyone I fight. So it's just like let's implement that all the time. Just make it like one of your punches or the kicks that I always throw.
Like, make it something for them to watch out for, like something that'll make their opponent hesitant to sort of enter.
Yeah,
Is that like
yeah,
just something they're gonna have to start worrying about?
exactly.
Yeah. But so your bread and butter is, I think, jujitsu, right?
Yeah,
Is that where you started?
that's where I started with SFS MMA in Mesquite, Texas. Yeah, I'm a
Hmm.
brown belt.
All right. Like, what drew you to that? Like, because you had a athletic career. I think you did football in college as well.
Yeah, I
Was
was
it?
playing college football, and I just stopped playing college ball. So I just met a guy who had the shirt on, and he just kind of told me about it. So yeah, I just started competing right away, just because I still was competitive from just quitting football.
Mm.
So I tried a tournament, and then I got my ass kicked, and then I was just like, oh wow, this is awesome.
Did the loss just not sit well with you? You're like, I just gotta keep chasing this.
Well, yeah, it was because I was winning some too, but I just started doing jujitsu, so it was
Mhm.
kind of awesome, like to be that good at something that you just started doing.
Just to know that, yeah, that's you could be competitive like early on already.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, and now you're with James Krause. Like, how did you end up getting at Glory MMA? Like, how did you end up, meeting James Krause and being your coach?
Uh, James and I have the same management, and I've always
Ah.
been a fan of his. So I just asked my managers if they could set that up, and then they were just like, reach out to him. He's a really nice guy. So I did, and he was. And after training with him one time, I was like, yeah, I need to let him make me better. So I've been with him since. That was about a year ago now.
Like, what aspects made him like a good fit? Because he's like one of the best minds in MMA. Like, you hear some opponents' corners sometimes go like, oh, as soon as we saw like James Krause, we're like, oh, we have to game plan differently, you know?
Yeah. Well, he just kind of reminded me of like what I want to become. Like I want to fight like him. Like I think he's a good fighter. So like I being around him, I get to kind of like take his moves, and like kind of like start to like make myself do certain strikes like him.
Hmm.
Like that knee, like I tried to throw it the way he throws them, and look where that got me. You know what I
Yeah, yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
It's just kind of like something I just want to keep doing. It. I want to keep like taking moves from them and using them as my own.
Yeah, it's like, if you're in a good camp, like, people don't realize, even when you're not necessarily training with that trainer or those people, you're always like unconsciously sort of picking things up, right, from the people you're around. Like, and before you know it, a year later, 2 years later, you start noticing your movements and stuff, sort of mimicking some of the best people that you're around.
Right.
Just in the way that your personalities probably change around the people you spend the most time with, as they say. Zip. Yeah. And before you like warm up for a fight, like, because I know you're confident in your skills probably, and you said, you're confident in your length and like the physical attributes as well. Um, how do you get over the nerves like before fighting? Like, because everybody gets somewhat nervous to different degrees, right? Before coming out, like, what are you doing to like loosen up and get that mind right?
I just box breathe, which is 4 seconds inhale, 4 seconds hold, 4 seconds exhale, 4 seconds hold. So I just box breathe. I guess meditate, if you will, and just take my mind off of the fight,
Yeah.
and then just kind of like do that as long as I need to until they bring me out for the fight, and then at that moment, then I kind of focus on the fight. So it just kind of keeps me from like having those like emotional roller coasters where you're like high then low, then high then low.
Yeah.
Just kind of stay low, and then when the fight starts, let myself go high.
Does it like
See what
bottle up a little bit in the walk and then it comes out right as you start? Is that the place you're trying to get at?
I'm kind of trying to like hold it till the very start of the fight, like
Mm.
bottle it all up, like as you walk out, and kind of just like continue to just like focus on the things around you, like you know, like I don't know, I'll just like the things like around me, not like getting into a fight. like letting those thoughts like leave, and then kind of just more so focusing on, you know, the experience, like what's in front of you, you know, like how does the cage look, or
How am I looking on camera? Is that like something
like
that ever crosses your mind?
what is my coach saying? You know, like
Yeah.
just the present moment things. I just try and focus on those.
Yeah, because like, what are the biggest differences between now, you know, fighting in the UFC and a promotion of that size, and even if it's in the Apex, right? And the other organizations you've been in, and even Bellator, like, what is the biggest difference there?
I wouldn't say there's any difference. Maybe just the organization of the company in itself.
But it doesn't affect you in any way, like any differently.
No, I'm telling you, the pressure is the same amount each time. Like, it's just more so surprising that you still feel that way before a fight.
Did you ever think you would get to the stage?
Yeah, like I knew I was going to get to UFC. I used to always say it to my friends and stuff, even before it was like a possibility. I just always felt that way.
Like, what was their reaction? Because that's those are wild statements to make, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I wasn't surprised, but like a lot of people around me have like reminded me that I told them that, like, even then, or I've always been saying I was going to get to the UFC. And
Did you have a lot more people reaching out like now after the win?
yeah,
Like
probably.
people from the past.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like a lot of people.
Like, how do you manage that? And also the interviews, like now you get all this media attention. Probably you've done a couple of interviews yesterday, so are you already like feeling that it's starting to get old, or is it like, is it exciting still?
No. The media stuff is my job, so
Yeah.
I enjoy doing media interviews, and I enjoy doing stuff like that. It's also like part of my job, so I'll
That's
do
a
as
good way to
much
look
as I
at it.
have to. So
Yeah.
no, I just show up to the times that I gotta show up. You know what I mean? Like, it's no big deal. That's how I manage it. It's not really like a. It's
Yeah, like
not
you're
really.
naturally a social person, I guess. Like,
Yeah,
it's not
I mean,
really.
I'm naturally like interested in like being in front of people and like talking and stuff like that. And I don't really mind. It's just sometimes I might not, physically be in the best, I don't know, like, I don't know, like I'm not always gonna be like chipper and
Yeah, I
excited
mean, yeah,
but I'll still show up and like
yeah.
be who I am at that moment. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's different for me. Like, now I always have to be sort of like on, like I've had a couple of interviews where I'm like, I feel like I wasn't on point, right? Like, it's only two, like, but I always like linger about it and think about it too much, I guess.
Nah, it
Yeah.
was then, and you moved forward from that. It doesn't really matter anymore. It's just what do you take from that one time? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
move
Yeah, no,
forward.
actually, to be fair, like the last time I really noticed it, like that's the last time it happened. Is that it's just been natural? Because like also the way the conversation goes, like as you've noticed, it's just like I like to have the casual conversation more like it's not like really. It is question and answer in a way, but like I let it flow more like a natural conversation. I like to talk about the outside stuff as well, not just
Yeah.
the fight stuff, not just all the questions that you've heard before, even though a couple here and there. But you've talked about you always shout out your management a lot, right? And also you're saying you're doing a lot of media. I'm not sure if they're the ones they also tell you they encourage you to do. I'm sure they encourage you to do a lot of media, but what are you looking for in good management? Like what sets them aside, and like maybe for young fighters as well to learn. How much did they help you? Like, how important is it to get with managements, and at what stage do you do it?
Wow, that's a good question. I noticed I needed management when I guess probably after my second professional fight, and like I needed my coach to become more of my coach. Like at the time, my coach was managing me too, and we were having an issue finding fights, and Like we would find a fight, and then the guy would pull out or something at the last second, and I would just be high and dry, like pissed off because I just cut weight and didn't make $1 for it because the guy didn't make the fight. So by that point, I was like, I need to get management because management will do something about it. You know, they'll like, you know, get that guy a suspension or something, you know, to make me feel better, you know, negotiate getting my show money because I still showed up on weight, you know, or whatever. So getting management was the best decision that I made for my career because I ended up getting into some trouble at one point over smoking weed. Or just having weed in my system at a time. And they ended up getting that suspension lifted off of me and taking care of it. So getting management was the best decision I've ever made.
So it's really like the legal representation of it all and their connections, I guess, that, you know, add to it.
Yeah, just being badass lawyers. Like all of my management is just like every one of them is just like some badass, confident, young, handsome lawyer. So I'm like, hey, I'm with the right people.
That's what it is. Just like confident, young, handsome lawyers. Yes, what you need.
Oh man, if you've seen him, I don't know if you've seen Jason House, but
I've heard his name before.
Straight out of a movie with this freaking jawline, like
suits, you know.
Freaking, he's
yeah, because you hear a lot of this. Like, there's a lot of like we even helped like a boxer, like a female boxer, recently get out of it's more common with women where like there's certain coaches that end up like abusing their position as managers as well, and they get so demanding that they keep them in sort of like a hostage situation, and you just wish that they met the right management at the right time, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
So it added a lot. Let's get something out of the way before we go into these these fan questions. Like, I had to look for more fan questions because everyone was asking, "Where did you get your name, Ugly Man, from?" Because they're like, half the people are like, "This isn't an ugly man. Like, you know, why is his name Ugly Man Joe?"
So that's the question you're asking me.
That's one of the. That's the. Let's get that out of the way before we go into fan questions. Because
dude, I just created a group called Ugly Man Gang when I was in college, and it just fit. Like it gets a reaction. Like every time somebody says the name, like people are like, they say what you just said. Like what? Like he's not an ugly man. Why would he do? I always say it just gets a reaction. Like that's basically it. Like.
You know, like a lot of media people we follow as well, they were like posting it, they were laughing like on the stories, and I laughed too, like the first time I heard it on Contender as well, and now, you know, it's just funny, it's true.
Yeah, no, it's like it's literally just a group I learned. I mean, I created when I was in college.
Like what was the group for? Like what?
Well, I just had a bunch of friends. Like when we would see each other, we would like start roasting each other and like. You know, like calling each other ugly and calling each other names and stuff. And it was just fun and games. It was just like, it was just what you would do at that time. So,
you know, it is great branding because I think like that's the kind of thing. It's a small thing that people just share. It makes, you know, even because fighting is not everything. Like even for a fighter, it's like you also just gotta get shared. You can go viral or whatever for whatever reason, and I think that's working at least.
Yeah, no, it's good branding. It's my brand for everything. I'm Ugly Man Joe on every social media site.
Yeah. Well, hope it keeps growing. So let me get into some of these fan questions before I let you go. Didn't want to make it too long. So first one, Faris K25. Who are your top 5 favorite fighters ever, and who do you relate your fighting style to?
My top 5 is gonna be probably Mighty Mouse, Kamaru Usman, John Jones, Valentina Shevchenko, and probably Rose Namajunas.
Yeah. Oh, those are good.
And I relate my fighting style to like Kamaru Usman, Nate Diaz combination there. Because I like to be on the top a lot, but I grapple a lot, but I throw some stiff jabs and I hit hard.
Those are the best kinds. As a like fan-friendly grappling fighter.
Yeah.
You ever like, think about being flashy in the cage, or is it like you're waiting for that to come naturally?
I'm not much of a flashy person. Like my girl says I try and dress flashy all the time, but that's different. I just want to like look good with her, but like as far as like my martial arts, I'm not much for the flashy stuff. I'm more of just like how it's supposed to be, like by the book kind of guy. Like to keep things real simple in the cage because it seems safer for me if I keep it simple.
Yeah, don't diverge too much from the game plan. Like, yeah, not too much talking. I guess. Okay. We got the Ashley Evan Smith's podcast, Sex and Violence with Rebel Girl. This is a relationship question, right? What does a pro fighter need in a good partner? Romantic, not training wise.
I just need I think that a pro fighter would just need somebody who's like understanding, who will, I guess, take the time to learn the fighter or like who, they're the person they chose to be in a relationship with, and like maybe be good at not taking everything personal. Because when you're cutting weight, like we can be ugly people. I try really hard not to be like that with her, my girlfriend, but I'm sure a lot of guys could or fighters, because guys and girls could have those moments of weakness where they might make a mistake and be mean to their significant other, and they shouldn't have, but sometimes I could see that happening.
It's
just someone who's understanding of the situation and not someone who's going to be like, well, you chose this, like that's a crappy thing to say. So, but I don't know, just somebody who's understanding and somebody who's like down to have, to like travel and like, down for like their significant other to be like, the center of attention a lot of times and not like take it personal. So my girl does a great job. Sorry, we say?
Oh no, I continue because I was gonna ask a follow up to that, but
yeah, no, my girlfriend does a great job, like just being present with me in all these moments when like everybody's like, "Oh, you're ugly man Joe," stuff like that. She's just like, just like with me. We're both kind of just like sitting there like shocked, like yeah.
It gets hard, right, when you're like cutting weight or it just changes your mood. You don't have a sense of humor or anything, and then you're like, I promise this is not me. Like this is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. Like I'm definitely not trying to do a lot of talking when I'm cutting weight.
But is that like why you take your partner with you because she was in your corner as well? Like to get the full experience?
No, she's in my corner because I need her with me.
Right.
She's like my way of like being peaceful, like during this pressureful time. Like
like you don't want to be alone in a room.
I had one recent fight where she wasn't able to go with me, and I didn't enjoy how that felt at all. So I was like, I need you to be with me.
That's good, man. When you figure those things out, like which things really get you going, or if being without them influences you negatively mentally, like gotta do whatever it takes to get any little edge, right? Another question from the same page, and have you ever had to sacrifice your relationship for your career?
I mean, I guess that time, like when she wasn't with me, I had to tell her she can't go. That sucked. So
that's okay. Yeah,
I wanted her to go. So but nothing serious. I mean, I had to sacrifice a lot of time with my kid when he was first born because I was training all the time.
Mm.
I was training like twice a day. Excuse me, I had a newborn. So yeah, I mean, I kind of sacrificed that relationship with his mom and him at the time for sure.
Yeah, it was just at the wrong time, I guess. That relationship was like, now you're more prepared, or you're at a higher level. You know, you can, and you've learned, and you can make it work now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Drop Bear MMA. What is your favorite fight of your own, and why?
Huh. I like to watch my fight with Shanti Barnes. I think it was my Contender fight. That's a cool one to watch just because I looked pretty badass doing it. Like that guy was really strong and stuff. So I just put some cool combos together and took his back and choked him. And I did a body triangle, and that was really cool. I don't really do those very much.
You're like, oh my god, this is working out accidentally. But you see, it's imprinted in your memory. I mean, that's good. Was he like a last minute? I don't remember if he was a last minute replacement.
I was a replacement for him.
Was a replacement. Oh, for him. Yeah, you were a replacement. Oh, that's badass though. Okay. The fake Marlon Vera always has good questions. If I was only stopping in Dallas for 3 hours, what is the one spot that I should visit?
I would say go stop by Keller's Burgers and get a burger and some onion rings. And then there's a lot to do in Dallas. We got the Science Museum. You could go stop by the Science Museum.
Oh, tips. Have you been there yet to the burgers since you've come back?
Not yet, but I definitely plan to go to Keller's sometime this week for sure. Probably, I'll probably go today.
Yeah, man. I got inspired to get burgers still, man. I'm a burger lover.
Yeah, I
for the
love
good
burgers.
ones here still. Andrea Borghetti 93. What was the inspiration behind the mustache?
I was just trying to figure out something I can do with my facial hair because I can't get it to connect everywhere. So I just gave it a try. I have a barber that's where I've been with forever, and him and I decided together, me and Yuri.
So it's just yeah.
There's literally no inspiration like of something I've watched or nothing like that. I just wanted to do something creative with my facial hair.
Sometimes a bit like that. Last one. This is an interesting question. I thought I want to put it in because this is a person I know, who isn't, it doesn't watch fights or anything, but she works in psychology and studies it a lot of the time, like emotional maturity and stuff like that. And she's like, I'd be curious to know the emotional and mental impact they, as in fighters, experience after being in fights. Usually fights happen because of conflict, but these are trained professionals and they go into it willingly. So I guess she wants to know, curious about the emotional and mental impact that you experience after being in fights.
I guess it just kind of depends on what type of fight it is, because it could be a fight like my debut where I go, 3 rounds with the Savage and, cut my eye open and, took a lot of damage and, exerted a lot of energy. I mean, I guess it felt more like a trauma, like something, more like something that happened to me instead of like something that I chose to do. So, I mean, I guess at that time, I just felt like, I needed to do something about it. It felt like a trauma that happened that I have to do something about. At the time, it was just like, I gotta work, I gotta go and train harder, I gotta be more prepared, stuff like that. So I don't know, I guess it caused me to grow from it just because it felt more of a trauma. But like this one was like a quicker fight. And I didn't really take very much damage or anything, so it kind of felt more like something that like I went and did, like
Yeah. Mm.
more like more like an experience, you could say.
Like
You
if
know,
it's that.
not like a trauma, just more like this is a fun experience. This is a good experience for a fight, and it kind of still makes me have the itch. Still, I want to fight. I want to fight again, like right now. So
Yeah, you said July. You want to fight July? End of July? Mid
I
July?
wanted to. No, I got a trip at the end of July. I can't fight. I'm going to Hawaii then, but
Sweet.
I'll probably fight in September.
All right. Well, a good break. Good break. Hawaii is not the worst, like. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. Man, I wish you the best of luck. I'm a fan. Um, and is there anyone you want to shout out? Anything you're doing outside as well?
I mean, I'll just shout out Road Run, cereal bar in Arlington. You can check them out. Also, new place that just opened up, cereal bar in Arlington. But shout out my management, Iridium Sports Management Agency, and then my coaches, James Krause and Anthony Salingsay. Much love, guys.
Joseph Holmes, thank you very much.
Appreciate your time, bro.